What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am joined by some very special guests today. I am with Allie and Anthony's Horrors and More, and we're here to talk about 20 years of the House of Wax remake. I say that in quotations because is it really a remake? Not really, but that's fine. But yeah, it's 20 years this year, and it's a personal favorite of mine. I know Allie and I have been talking through like YouTube chats and Instagram, and I know that she is also a fan of it. Anthony, I want to start with you first. How much of a fan of House of Wax are you?
Oh, I'm a huge fan. It's funny because when we first started talking, that was one of the first films that got brought up with our relationship. It was like House of Wax and Joyride and a few others, but House of Wax was
Right.
the first one that got the ball rolling. So no, I'm a pretty huge fan, man. I've always really loved this movie. Yeah, love the
Oh
practical
yeah.
effects, the acting.
Oh yeah.
Just the way it's shot in general, I think looks really good. And they put a good amount of money and hard work into it, so I think they nailed it.
They really did. Now, Allie, 20 years ago, where were you when this movie was coming out? Like, what was your awareness of this? Did you just kind of like see this on a whim? Did you know the original House of Wax before this? Like, where were you at in 2005 when
Well, I
this
was
came out?
like 10 or 11, depending on when I saw this, but I think I saw this at home for the first time. I don't remember exactly. I just know that I've always loved it. And at that time, I had not seen the original, and I still haven't seen the original.
Me either.
Really?
I don't think.
It's very different. It's good, but it's very
Maybe
different
I
than
have.
this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the first time that House of Wax really went on my radar, I was in the theater seeing something in like late 2004. It was probably like Halloween season 2004, and they had trailers play before the movie. One of those trailers was House of Wax. Now, I had heard about the original. I had not seen it at that point. Again, just growing up in that era of those 2000 remakes, like I saw a lot of those first before I saw the originals. Luckily, it didn't really matter for this one, but yeah, so I wasn't really sure what to expect with this movie because I had like no prior knowledge going in. I was very pleasantly surprised coming out of it. Now, I don't remember if I saw this one in theaters or at home, but I know I saw it pretty quickly after it came out. I remember that the marketing campaign was very come see Paris Hilton die because
Right?
like she was in that public image a lot, and everyone's like, "Oh, I can't stand Paris Hilton." So, which honestly is a great way to market your movie. But how much of that do you guys remember at all?
See, I don't remember that being like. I mean, I do remember Paris Hilton being a big thing back then,
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. This is hot. That's hot. That's hot. This is really hot.
but I don't remember like the marketing for it. I guess the
Hmm.
trailer or any of that. Because you know what's funny? I believe when I first saw this film, I rented it from like Blockbuster, Family Video, or something like that, or maybe even caught it on TV if it was on a channel. But I can't remember exactly. I feel like I watched it on TV actually. I really do for the first time. Maybe it was on cable or something like that. But yeah. But not much with the
Um,
Paris Hilton stuff. I do think it's hilarious though, because there's little nods with like the them recording her and stuff like that. Little
yeah.
little things like that. So it's pretty funny.
And then first impressions when you guys finished watching this movie for the first time, what was like your general thoughts of just like your reaction?
Yeah, yeah. Take it away.
Well, I don't remember my first viewing of it, but I do remember watching it back in like 2005. So I didn't see it in the theater. I think maybe my sister and my dad saw it because maybe I was like too young at the time or something. And then maybe we watched it at home after that. But I remember like I have vivid memories of being in like fifth grade. And I think we had like a Halloween party at my house and we were watching that and I was like loving it, like when she gets her finger pulled off, and all the kids were
Oh,
traumatized. I was like, "This part's
yeah.
awesome."
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of those moments that like make you cringe like that because again it's practicals and a lot of it feels a little too real in certain spots like Jared Padalecki when he gets his Achilles cut, which we're gonna
Oh
talk about
yeah,
as
Oh
well.
man,
But
that's
that
so
was
good.
another one of those moments where it's like I felt that one. But yeah, this movie is like filled with a lot of like those little moments. But for me, what really sets the tone immediately is that score. Because you
Yeah.
have the Warner Brothers logo, and then you're sucked into this 1970. Like you're not really sure what's happening. Someone's making something in the kitchen. Kids being a little brats. Let's strap them up to a chair. Like you don't know what's going on when this movie starts off.
Yeah.
And then we jump a little later to present day, and then we meet our new cast of characters. Which this is a pretty stacked cast. Now I'd known most of these people from other stuff before. Alicia Cuthbert I had known from The Girl Next Door, just like a year before that. Richard Richard, who plays Paris Hilton's boyfriend, I knew as my cousin Skeeter on Nickelodeon. Do you guys remember that show?
My cousin Skeeter, I do
So,
remember that. Yeah.
and of course, Jared was big for like Gilmore Girls at the time. I think he was just starting Supernatural around that time. So Supernatural hadn't really hit yet, but it's a good cast for sure.
It is. The cast really jumps out at me immediately, actually, because
Mm-hmm.
they all feel like really like lived in characters, you know what I mean? Very believable. Like I buy them as friends or not friends.
Yeah.
The way they're making fun of Wade is hilarious too. But even that feels
Poor
like,
Wade.
we're just gonna we're just gonna give him crap and all this. Even that feels very authentic. Like I love that.
He's like the new kid on the block. We got to pick on him.
Exactly. Like I love it when they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, your Thor haircut that you got there, whatever, or your He-Man haircut, your He-Man haircut,
He-Man haircut.
Their Wade."
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that joke. Yeah,
A little
so
Hot
good.
Wheels car.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Your Shot Wheels car,
Your Shot Wheels car. Yeah.
your Shot
Yeah.
Wheels car.
Don't worry, man. It's not Wade's fault. It's a little Hot Wheels car. Only fits two.
It's more like a Shot Wheels car, isn't it, Wade? Wait, what'd you do? Go to the barbershop and ask for a He-Man haircut or what?
And then another thing I noticed early on, the score, but the actual like soundtrack. You have like Disturbed and Marilyn
So-
Manson, and My Chemical
Yes.
Romance, like shit that I was like really digging at the time. I still listen to now, but that was another thing that really stood out to me. I'm like, this soundtrack fucking kicks ass.
Yes.
What was your thoughts on like the overall like soundtrack that we would hear throughout the movie?
Dude, yeah, that was my kind of music back in the day. Like I loved all of that like rock music from back then, the Marilyn Manson, Disturbed, all those bands. I think that was another thing that really drew me into the film was because the music just kind of like sucks you right in. And we don't get those like kick-ass soundtracks as much anymore nowadays because it costs so much, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever the reasoning is. But
Yeah, in the 2000s, horror especially, like always had like a good kick-ass title track to go with it.
Yes.
Usually. Yeah, so again, if you want to listen to the House of Wax soundtrack, you can't go wrong with the score or the actual official soundtrack at all. But
Absolutely.
so when you think of some of your guys' favorite moments in this movie, in no particular order, but like what was some of the first ones that kind of come to mind in terms of scenes that really stuck with you?
Ooh, I know
You want to
your-
go first?
I know what yours is gonna be. I love it when the mysterious, the third brother shows up and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, and they're like, what's that? And there's like a hand sticking out all these dead animal carcasses, and he's just the way that guy looks too is just so nasty. He's got dirt and blood all over him, and then he walks over and he like rips that fake hand out. It's like a mannequin's hand, and he's like, see, it's not real.
I'm only fooling.
I'm only fooling. Yeah.
Anyone need a hand? I'm just fooling. It's not real, see? I found it on the side of the road a few weeks ago.
That guy is
Yeah.
so good. I love that scene, especially because everybody's like, oh, like it stinks so bad here. They're really selling it. And I like, too, really quick, that when Alicia Cuthbert's, kind of getting undressed, she's like taking her shirt off. I like that the other guys are like covering her up and trying to like protect her because the other guys got like those prying eyes trying to look at her. I
Yeah.
really like that. Once again,
They know.
making the characters feel really like authentic, like these are good people, because that's a very subtle way of showcasing that. What about you?
Well, definitely when Wade gets his Achilles cut and that whole situation in the house because it's so intense,
Yeah.
and you get to like
Mhm.
see Vincent, and so that's creepy. And then definitely when Bo gets Carly in the
Oh
basement
yeah. Mhm.
and duct tapes her up, because then if you remember the beginning, then it like ties together again then. And so
Yeah.
yeah.
And speaking of that specifically, even like the killers in this movie was quite surprising to me because for the first little bit, kind of as we're kind of going into this town for the first time, we're meeting Bo. We had the roadkill driver. You're like, something's afoot here, and I'm not quite sure what it is yet. Now at first, the movie does a really good job of kind of misleading you, like is Bo just like going in and putting on a wax mask and a wig and going around killing people? And then you kind of find out as the movie goes on that no, they're completely different people. And by the way, Brian Van Holt playing both roles in this movie,
Mm,
he is great.
yes.
Because yeah, he did a really good job playing both Bo and Vincent. And what was your guys' first impressions of just like the killer itself? Because it's a really cool and unique look, for one. And then going into the backstory of it all, it's really interesting. The kind of upbringing that these characters have had. So to kind of watch it unfold, for me, it's the moment where Bo's in the house and he's trying to get the arrow out of him, and then
Yes.
Vincent shows up in the truck and he's like, "Hey, told you not to leave here with them. Don't be so stupid." And
Yes.
then you could really kind of get a sense of like, okay, this is what's really going on here. I love that. I thought it was some great little misdirection going on for a while. What did you guys think of that?
Oh man. Here, you go ahead and take this one.
Well, I mean, I love the killers and I love their backstory because I know you and I have talked about this before, how much we love the backstory and how we wish we could
Yeah.
get like a prequel movie about the Sinclair
Mm.
family because it's so good.
I was gonna do it at one point in time. There was a script written. We had a couple people cast. We started Indiegogo, and then the project just fell through. But yeah, like that's a story that I would personally love to see because again, there's just a couple like throwaway lines in the movie, but when you listen to what he's actually saying, you're like, there's a good story in there, and I want to see that. So again, the whole thing about their mom and how she had this like beautiful vision to create Trudy's town of wax, and the boys are kind of bringing that vision to life, and one is kind of being brainwashed and skewed by the real monster of a brother, which that was another good twist as well. He's really being a monster again today. You think it's automatically Vincent, you find out
Yeah.
later it's Bo. That was a good little bait and switch there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a great prequel series or a prequel film in here somewhere. If you wanted to go back, and write something for Bo and Vince, if you wanted to bring those characters back to the forefront and do, because
Yeah.
you see, like, this is really creepy, but you see down, in the garage area where he's got Carly strapped down, they don't like, zoom in on it, but you see all these pictures of other women in the background,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
Bo's been doing this for a long time and he's had
Mm-hmm.
other ladies down there and it's super creepy. And then Vincent, all those countless people that lived in the town and all these random hitchhikers and people that got lost on the road that he's killed and turned into wax. I mean, man, there's like endless stories there to tell. So I think that's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
It is wax, like literally. But by the way, I love Jared Pilley. I hate that line, and I know Jared hates that line too.
It is wax. Like, literally.
But the interesting thing about Vincent is like some of his creepiest moments is when he's just walking around with the video camera. Like that's it. It's just a guy in a wig walking around with this video camera, and for some reason, I was just always really unsettled by that. Like when he's outside their tent, when he's messing
Yeah.
around with their music, stuff like that. Again, it's really effective stuff.
Yeah.
And when he's chasing after Paige in that like
Yep.
warehouse, he's real creepy in
Yeah.
there too.
So I do have a little clip I'm going to show you guys.
Cool.
This is so you guys are familiar with the app Cameo, where you pay a little bit and you'll get like a celebrity little cameo, birthday shout outs or whatever.
Yeah.
This was like probably 2-3 years ago. Again, it was around the time that we were trying to develop the House of Wax prequel fan film that I was doing. And John Abrahams, who plays Dalton in the film, he told a little interesting story that maybe you guys have heard about, maybe you guys have not. So
I'll give you one little tidbit that I recall from filming it, which is, we shot it in Australia. They built that entire town with fully dressed sets in the middle of the jungle. And we also shot on 3 sound stages that were fully dressed, and all the sets were coated in paraffin wax. They had giant cauldrons of paraffin melting 24 hours a day, and they would just keep painting the walls. And one night, the flames from the cauldron caught fire to a wall and burned down the entire soundstage and all the sets and all the props. And so we had to postpone shooting for like 3 weeks while they rebuilt the sets on a different stage. And I got a nice little break and traveled around Australia. But it was something to see, because if you can imagine a giant soundstage fully dressed with all these different sets, all that was left after that fire were 3 melted steel I-beams. And that's it. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
now again, yeah, it is a pretty crazy story. But what's impressive to me is that the production team built that entire town in Australia. Like I don't really know too many movies where like built like an entire, like you have backlots where you have like a little neighborhood or whatever, stuff like that. But building an entire town in the middle of the jungle, it was kind of unheard of at the
Yeah.
time for sure. And I always thought that little tidbit was like really cool. So the location, how well or not well do you feel like the location really adds to the effect of the overall movie itself?
Oh, me for one. I mean, I'll tell you, I love horror movies where it's like a small town setting.
I do
Those are
too.
some of my favorites. Um, and I thought they nailed it because it looks like a legit real town. I mean,
I was convinced.
yeah, and I'm so glad because nowadays we were just talking about this too. They would probably just green screen in like a town in the
Mhm.
background or something.
Yeah.
It would look completely ridiculous. But man, they really put the work in and the time in to like get that done and make it feel so real. And yeah, I love it. What about you?
No, I love the setting. Yeah, it's very impressive. All the attention to detail, making it look really like withered through all the decades.
Hmm.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the car lot too is another location. Like again, I don't know if that was shot in California or Australia. I'm not entirely sure on that, but that was another good little set piece where you're shooting Paris Hilton's death there.
Yeah.
Again, it's a nice little chase scene, stuff like that. And again, with the video camera, after he kills her, he just walks up to her and is like, "Yeah, that's a good shot."
He's like, I gotta document this.
Moments like that, I love it.
He was proud of himself. He's like,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
that was a great throw. He's like, I gotta
He's an
document
artist. He's an artist.
this.
So again, you hadn't seen the original at that point. Did you know that the character Vincent was a tie-in to Vincent Price, or did you pick up on that later on?
Probably later on for me.
Yeah,
Same,
for me it was
same.
later on for sure. Like I didn't pick up on that. I was like, oh, interesting little Easter egg there. Because really, it's only a remake by name. It's more of a remake of Tourist Trap, if anything.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm not complaining about that. Tourist Trap is a great movie. So this is a nice little like modern version of it. But like, okay, favorite moments just in terms of like the character dynamics. Like when you see 2 or 3 different characters together, like what are some moments that like kind of stand out for you?
Man, there are quite a few actually, but I, God, because I really like when they're messing with each other in the car.
Yeah.
I really do. I love that scene. I really, because it's just like they're just busting his balls, when they're
Mhm.
just talking about Wade and his He-Man haircut and his and all that stuff. But besides that, um, I also really love when Dalton walks into the House of Wax and he sees Wade just sitting there at the piano. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, there you are, Wade. Like, what's going on, man? We've been looking around for you. You know,
Everyone's waiting for you at the campsite. What are you
You're
doing?
right. Yeah, where you been at? You know?" And then he just goes over there and he's looking at him.
This is his face.
And just the way like Wade's eyes are moving like
Oh yeah.
back and forth, and then he like just
Hmm.
peels his face off. Talk about great practical effects, man. When
Yeah,
he rips
for
that part,
sure.
that side of his cheek off, and it reveals that. But it's funny because I know it's not like characters talking, but it's still just such a great scene, and I love it because it gives Dalton some attention too, just like by
It
himself, which
it
is
does because he really doesn't have too much to do in the movie.
right. Yeah, but he's great. I love John Abrams.
Yeah,
Well,
I do too.
he always brings like a charisma to every role that he's in. You know, like
Hmm.
Scary Movie or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Well,
What
it's
about
funny.
you?
It's funny that you mentioned Dalton because both of the scenes that I was thinking of have to do with him. One of them is when he's recording the couples around the campfire kissing, and then he moves over to Nick. He's like, "Don't even think about it. I ain't kissing you, dude." And then the other one is when the girls give him his makeover, and they say he looks like Elton John but more gay. That's a great moment. So he gets a lot of the laughs for sure.
Yeah, Dalton gets a couple highlights for sure. Again, it's a quick little moment, but when him and Nick are trying to figure out where Carly and Wade is, and Nick's just like, maybe they're at the store. It's a quick little thing, but I always kind of laugh out loud in that moment. But yeah, the scene where he's actually like in the House of Wax and he's all like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. We're gonna get you."
Yes.
Well, then stop doing it if you're sorry. But what's really cool about that particular scene is there is an out of focus shot of Vincent kind of standing there the whole time,
In
and then
the
it kind of
shadows,
comes.
yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And then it just builds up to this nice little chase scene. It leads him down to the basement, off with your head, all that. But that is one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie for sure.
Yeah, even Nick and Dalton just coming out of the little restaurant there at the very beginning of the movie, and there's like the homeless guy with his can, and like Nick just like kicks the can out of his hand or whatever. He's like, "Get a job, man," or whatever. I'm like, "Oh wow!" So it just shows you right off the bat, like these are the kind of characters you're dealing with. You know what I mean? They're a couple of assholes, but then you learn that okay, they're actually they're good guys.
They're not so
overall,
bad.
But,
Yeah.
but I love that little scene, because it's kind of mean spirited, but it's fun.
Yeah. Dalton definitely feels like he's the one that's trying to fit in with everyone else. He does
Yes.
kind of feel like the odd. Like I know we were talking about Wade and everyone's picking on him, but Dalton's really is the one who feels like the odd man out. He wants to be with the cool kids, and I love him for that.
Yeah, or even just the scene. Now they're all. I'm starting to. Even the scene
Uh-huh.
where Bo comes out of the church for the first time. Like out of the funeral home.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you guys shouldn't have, you guys shouldn't have came in there, whatever." And then he like breaks out a cigarette and he starts smoking. They're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we're just looking for a fan belt." And he's like, "You interrupted a fucking funeral for a fan belt?" You know what I mean? And it's just like I love that whole interaction. That's so good.
Again, Brian Van Holt in this movie doesn't get the recognition that he deserves because not only did he have to play two parts, but he played two parts very well. And again, for a while, I didn't even know that was Brian Van Holt playing the same part. Like I thought they were two completely different. I mean, looking back now, you could definitely see it in the eyes when you get that face reveal of Vincent at the end. There, you're like, okay, I could see it now. But yeah, he did a really good job, kind of
Yeah.
like taking the reins of the villain role of this movie.
Yeah.
So, again, talking about the roadkill driver, we knew that something was definitely up with him. We're going to talk about the ending for sure. But have you guys watched like the bloopers, the outtake stuff like that?
I think I have. I think I've watched some bloopers for sure.
Yeah.
So there's one with the roadkill driver, Damon Harriman, who is great. He's played Charles Manson like 2 or 3 different times, and he crushes it every time.
Yeah.
This is a great little blooper that I always like going back to here.
I broke a fan belt. I broke a fan belt. I broke a fan belt. The dang fan belt broke. I broke a fan belt. The dang fan belt broke. That's good. You got it. I can't believe you learned so quick.
Yeah.
Broke a fan belt. I broke a fan belt.
How much further is it?
I've been waiting for you to ask that.
He's like, about time. Again, imagine being on set with him that day in that truck, and he's just going off with that shit. And you're just like, do we roll with this? Do we say something? Like, what's gonna? Again, it seems like everyone in this movie had a really good time making it. Like I said, John Abrams, he was talking about, was like, yeah, I got a little 3-week vacation to, go visit around Australia. But it seems like the cast really had fun while they were making it. It seems like the crew had a really good time. And I think that definitely shows on screen when you're looking at all the character dynamics and everything. Anything in particular regarding that you guys wanted to like point out or talk about at all?
No, I mean, I feel like they were all like perfectly cast. I love all the characters, and yeah, I definitely believe them as friends and then as couples, and just yeah, I think they all nailed it for sure.
Yeah, me too. Same thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then going back to Paris Hilton again, she was pretty universally hated for like her public character at that time. And there's a quick little thing where she's like, I might be pregnant, I might not, and that's kind of quickly forgotten about.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. Do you think she was pregnant? Do you think she was kind of just like, I don't know what's going on, but turns out I wasn't actually pregnant? What do you think was their like intention with that character?
I think she was like pregnant. I think they were trying to create a little bit more suspense with that because it's like, oh, she could potentially be pregnant, so that kind of adds to it a little bit.
Right.
And yeah, just makes it ups the horror ante a bit too. You know what I mean? 'Cause you're like, oh wow, they're going there. They're gonna kill her, and she might be pregnant. That's pretty messed up. So maybe I think that's probably why they did it.
Yeah, adds a little
Yeah.
drama
Yeah.
potential.
Another one of my favorite scenes is the movie theater sequence when they go in there and you got whatever happened to Baby Jane playing on the screen. You got all the wax people in the audience. And again, looking at some of the behind the scenes footage, like those people were like in there under a bunch of makeup. It was really hot. Imagine being in there for hours and you got all these bugs crawling on you because you're supposed to look like old and stuff like that. I love that whole theater sequence in general.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and once again, just shout out to all the people that worked on the makeup effects and everything for that. I mean, it just
Yeah.
looks so good. I mean, you can just tell those people have been rotting away forever. And it's cool because there's just so many. I love that we explore so many different places in the town. Like the church and the movie theater, and there's a little
Yeah.
pet store and the little convenience store, and they're just and the garage, and they're just kind of like bebopping all around this town. And I don't know. I think that just adds more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ellie, do you have anything you wanted to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. So talking about the town itself, obviously they control all the lights and it's clear that these brothers again are trying to bring their mother's vision to life and create and have this town of wax thing going on. But it's really crazy the amount of effort that the brothers themselves have put in to creating this vision. You got the church, you got the dead mother, very Norma Bates like in the church the whole time. You got the little tails on the dog's wagon,
Yeah.
which still kind of makes me feel a little bit weird. One thing that really got me was the old lady peeling back the curtain. Because at first you're like, oh shit, she's gonna help us, right? And then you find out, no, she's a wax figure too. Again, the amount of things that they made to like see, does this look convincing? I say it does. It threw me off guard.
Even when Wade and Carly go into the church for the first time, and you just get like a quick shot, and it's like the priest or whatever, and he's like looking up
was
like
like-
this, or
Yeah.
he's got like
Disapproving.
right, you just entered
Yeah, he's like,
the house
shame
of
on
God.
you. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It was great editing because it was just quick, like a quick cut,
Yeah,
just
you don't
enough to
think
make you-
about it in the moment.
Exactly. You're like, oh, that guy was real. Okay, this town has lived. Like, you believe it. Like, those are all people in there, and the music's playing and all that. So,
Same with the dogs and the old lady in the window. Like they
Yep.
just show you it for enough time to be like, oh, cool, but then they just move on.
yeah. Plus, there's cars parked everywhere too. There's cars all over the town. You're like, oh, there's clearly people here because there's cars everywhere. You know.
Yeah. Bo in particular, he's very demented. Like this is not just we're picking off people, we're turning them into wax figures. No. He's like, we're putting on an entire show here. In a way, that's very impressive, but maybe not for the right reasons. But I want to talk to you guys about like the House of Wax itself, like the actual set for that. It's beautiful in terms of like visually, and I love the layout of it. I love how you're kind of like looking at everything on the ground floor, and then you got the stairs, and it's kind of blocked off, and we're like, we don't go up here, and I'm like, what's up those stairs? That was my question. And then you get upstairs, and then it's so what do you guys think of like the overall design of the House of Wax itself?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, they did it once again. Just knocked it out of the park with making it feel like dusty and cobwebs and just like, and it's so creepy because it's not like what Wade was saying. It's like, oh, normally you go into a House of Wax and it's celebrities all over the place and stuff, but here it's just regular people, and so you're wondering, well, yeah, what's up with that? Why isn't it like a bunch of celebrities in there? Why is it just all these like
these people?
right, exactly, so it makes it creeps you out even more because you're wondering. It already sets up kind of like a mystery, like, oh yeah, who are all these folks in here, but yeah, I thought that once again, makeup effects, practical effects, just all that stuff, top notch. Because this is, even the director said, he's like, man, I want this to be mostly practical. I don't want to use a lot of CGI or any of that kind of stuff. And I thought they did a really awesome job with that. So
one of the things that we set out to do was to try to make this real. Jama felt very strongly he wanted it to be natural. He didn't want anything artificial. And he had said right from the outset, he only wants to use visual effects in places that we can't do practically.
There is no book on how to do that. All the people that did the special effects, they worked their ass off, like experimenting with different types of wax to get the feeling, because I didn't want to go with the easy route, with just being like CG.
Oh man, yeah, the practical effects are great. Again, the atmosphere of this movie in general is just something that's always stuck with me. And that's another reason why I keep going back to it, just because I'm so enthralled by the way this movie looks. The practical effects are a big part of that. And so for me, it all worked. Again, there was a lot of things where I was just like, okay, I know that there's something wrong here. Something's not right about this. I just don't know what yet. And as the movie kind of unfolds and you kind of learn everything, again, as I said, I was just very pleasantly surprised the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah, just all the set designs and everything, you could tell they just went in there with a very like steady hand, and they're like, okay, how do we make this look as like weathered as possible, and yeah, they knocked it out of the park, man. They just killed it. Yeah.
So again, going back to favorite moments, we kind of talked about a couple of them already, but did you have any other like favorite moments in general, whether it's a death scene, a character scene where they're just kind of talking and hanging out, scenes that again stuck out to you for any reason, make you laugh for any reason? What are some of those other scenes?
I definitely love when Nick goes looking for Carly and has that encounter with Bo, and when Carly gets her fingertip pulled off. That whole sequence is really good and intense. And
got Marilyn Manson playing.
Yeah.
I really, once again, I was talking about Dalton. I love the moment where he's about to get killed by Vincent too, and he's just being chased, and he's going down those stairs, and he falls, and then here come these two like giant blades, and I love those knives, man. Those are killer, custom made.
Yeah, they are.
And then just cuts Dalton's head right off. I
like how he had like candles along the stairs too.
Yes.
Again, it was a nice visual thing.
Don't touch me, motherfucker. Get out.
Yes, and that's just such an iconic kill right there to me. I mean,
Hmm.
even like when the head gets, cut off and then it rolls a little bit and you just see his eyes still kind of
Yeah, that's a
twitching
little goofy, but fine.
a
Yeah.
little bit, but it's still cool, man. Because
Yeah.
I thought it looked pretty good as well. Like it could have looked dumb, but I thought it looked okay. And it's the mid 2000s too, so it gives it a little bit of that mid 2000s flair. I kind of like some of that stuff. And yeah, God, what else? What are some other scenes there?
I love when Vincent takes Wade down into his like studio and
Oh yeah.
stitches him up and waxes him and then sprays him with the wax. That's really cool.
And that score is really good too. Ha 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 ha.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
then
yeah, just to see his whole process, and he gets Wade going, and then you see him just turn on a light and sit down at his desk, and the scene just kind of cuts away. I'm like, dude, just getting back to work now. I'm gonna go work on something else.
Yes. Yeah, and then even the scene where Bo shows up to the campground late at night when they're partying, and they're like, "Hey, man, turn your headlights off, or whatever." And Allie loves the scene too, where his fingers just kind of like scratching the side of his truck as
Mhm.
he's looking at them. All you see is the finger just
And you
out
see
there
his wrist scar.
and
I was gonna say, you see the wrists. Yep.
Yes. And then they just throw the thing and they break one of his headlights, and then that comes back into play later in the movie when they realize like, oh, this is the same truck that was stalking us that night. Love all that, how that tied in. And like you were saying, Allie, too, the attention to detail, like with the scars on the wrist and all that's fantastic. And even the high chairs, especially at the beginning of the movie where you see like there's like blood still on the high chair, like where the straps are like dried blood and stuff, and that's just all of that stuff. Like I said, the attention to detail for all those little moments, I think, is because you can tell they've been doing this over and over with their
Yeah.
kids, strapping them down, and the high chair's dirty, and yeah, they did a great job of all that stuff.
Yeah. Again, going back to that whole prequel idea, there's definitely a lot of story to tell with the brothers and their history. And again, as I was talking about, like at first you don't really know if Bo's just putting on a wig and a wax mask and going around killing people, or if they are two separate people. You're not sure. And that detail with the wrist is a good little way to kind of throw you off a little bit. Like, okay, this guy in the truck is our guy. By the way, that reveal when Carly notices that she's in the same truck that was at the campsite, and she sees the broken headlight, and she's like, all right, where's Wade? All this stuff like that. I will say, I do like, he's like, if you don't open this door, I'm going to call the cops. It's a nice little moment.
This is my truck.
This is my truck.
Open the damn door. This is my truck. Hey, what is the matter with you? If you don't open this door, I'm gonna call the cops.
I love his like southern drawl.
Yeah, I love his southern draw, and then the way he kind of is like pigeon-toed too, so it kind of gives him like this strut.
Yeah, for sure. And then if we want to get a little bit deeper into like some of the themes, one thing I really like about this movie that I don't think gets talked about enough when talking about this film is you have that whole conversation very early on with Nick and Carly about how you're the good twin, I'm the evil one, which very much mirrors Bo and Vincent, which is why I love that it ends up with those four together in the final act. You have the two sets of twins going at it with each other, and I think that was a really cool little subtle thing that they kind of did. You have one twin who is very good and one twin who is very evil. Well, I wouldn't say Vincent is good, but he's more good than Bo is for sure. And for a while, you kind of think it's the other way around. Like you think that Vincent's the sick one, Bo's just kind of like the one, like whatever. Not the case at all. But I love that whole thing with just like the twin storyline in general.
Me too.
Yeah, no, yeah, same here. Especially, and they do a great job just in the third act of showcasing that. There's so much symbolism, like when Vincent cuts through the door and then
That's an
slides it
iconic
down
shot.
to
Yeah.
the where the baby carriage is, and
Yeah.
them join together, and then the blade just cuts down the two of them, and it separates the two babies. That's fantastic. And then obviously, the scene where they die too at the
Yeah.
very end, and they land, they're on top of each other, so they're conjoined again. There's so much symbolism, like also when Carly stabs Vincent, and as she's about to lunge at him, she steps on his face, his mask, and then stabs him. Just a lot of symbolism there.
Yeah. So talking about that, there is one little moment where Carly is trying to like get through to Vincent, like, "Hey, don't kill me," all this. But like specifically when when she's talking to him about their mother, like, your mother didn't want you to do this, and he kind of stops for a minute, like, do you really think like Bo's been manipulating you this whole time? Obviously, he's not going to turn good, but I do think he thought about it. It's like, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
This is all he knows. This is
Yeah.
all he knows. So again, I just thought that was a nice little moment with them two, but I'm glad they didn't go full on where he turns on Bo and joins the good side. Thank God they didn't go that route. But I do like that they kind of, I do like that they kind of tiptoed around that for a minute though, because again, misdirection. You think Vincent's like this awful, awful guy. He is, but again, not as bad as Bo. So I love that he got to have those little moments with Carly where she understands. She's like, no. You're not the evil twin of the two here.
Right.
I thought that was really good.
Loved how they
I know. I'm sorry about that.
Vincent's coming for you right now, buddy. This is it. Lights out. The Achilles tendon gets cut from underneath you. Drags you underground.
So then we kind of get to the ending. Carly and Nick are in the ambulance and the cops are over there. And by the way, they're like, "Oh yeah, them Sinclair boys been taking people off the thing for like 10 years now." And you're just now thinking that this was a problem. Like, what have you guys been doing for a decade? But anyway, with that comes again another moment that I was not expecting. We go back to the roadkill driver because after a while you kind of forget about him. Like, okay, clearly he's not our guy. We don't have to worry about him. He was just weird. And then it comes back around to him at the very, very end.
Yeah, Dave.
Ran the Sinclair family through CDIC. Trudy and the doctor didn't have two sons. They had three.
And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. What was your guys' reaction to that little twist at the end there when you first saw this?
I love it.
Me too. That's actually, I think, one of the scenes, going back to like one of your first questions, that's one that stood out to me big time when I watched this film for the first time, like on cable or wherever it was. I just remember that scene kind of like lingering with me. I thought it was creepy, kind of eerie, you know what I mean? Like, especially back then when I was like, younger or whatever, I was just like, oh man, that's I like that, because it's like setting it up for, okay, now we could potentially have a sequel or something. And it's just, oh man, the whole time they were in that truck with the guy, and he's like the third brother, so at any moment he could have just taken out that big Bowie knife and just killed him. So I loved it. That stood out to me big time when I first watched the film.
How great is his dialogue in that scene where he's like, "You can get used to anything if you're around it long enough."
Yeah.
Sorry. I kind of get used to the smell.
Really? I don't think I could ever get used to it.
Well, you can get used to anything if you're around it long enough. No, if you get them in the early morning before the sun bakes them up, they're not so bad. If they're fresh, though, I just take them home. Why waste the meat?
I kind of felt like he was talking to Carly in that moment, especially like, you can get used to me. You know?
Right. Well, again, going back to that blooper, like he's clearly like riffing a lot. He's clearly like making a lot of this up on the spot. So I wonder how much in the final film was actually just him, where he's like, "It's a good knife that'll cut through anything."
Yes, yeah, a lot of improv, maybe.
Yeah. But no, I love that character, even though we only get him for a short time. And yeah, the end leaves you with questions, though. It's like, okay, he's the third brother, but he's clearly not too involved. Like, he didn't go around the town with Bo and Vincent and kind of help them. He seems to kind of just stay out of it. Like, yeah, I'll bring them to you, but I don't want no part of it. And again, that just, as a storyteller, kind of makes me want to know why. Why is he distancing himself? Like, well, what is the relationship he has with his two brothers? How does he feel that they're now gone? Does he's like, finally, those two guys are out of my hair. I can go about my business. Like, there's so much they could have done. I'm glad that we don't have a sequel, though. I'm glad that this was a one and done. We don't see his high chair. We see Bo. We see Vince's, and again, there's no like clue of a third brother. So it's like, how involved was he really? What do you guys kind of think about that whole thing?
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, there is no hint of another brother, so it makes me wonder, like, when did he come along, you know, like the age difference between them and what their dynamic is, and what he would do after those events, you know, like if he would, like, where he's even living. I mean, that's a question too, like, where does this guy live?
Yeah.
Probably some shack in the middle of the woods. You know, that's my guess.
Yeah. Just picking up roadkill and taking care of that.
It's very. I love a good like ominous ending. You know, where it just it leaves you like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's not over yet, kind of a thing. Same thing with Joyride. Also, kind of has that type of ending too.
Yeah,
it does.
You know, rain keeps everybody inside. You know? I love it.
So obviously, House of Wax, it's a movie that we all seem to love. It's a very important movie for your guys' relationship. And so I'm gonna guess that if you guys are like me, it doesn't take much for you to get in the mood to watch House of Wax. Like, you're like, yeah, I could put this on anytime, no problem. I could rewatch it as many times as I want and never really get bored of it. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Yeah, this is actually both of ours second time watching it just this year alone.
Oh wow. Nice.
Yeah. Yep. We watched it back in February as well. And then obviously we watched it today before the stream started.
Yeah, I think the last time that I watched it was probably because it's always a movie that I like to watch during the summer. So I always try to hold off to watch it in the summer for sure. But of course, I watch it like throughout the year too. But I think the last time I actually watched it was before meeting John Abrams at Motor City Nightmares last summer, because I wanted to ask him about House of Wax, of course, and Scary Movie and all that stuff. So I think that was the last time that I actually like sat and watched. Like, I put it on in the background and stuff from time to time and whatnot. But it's one that I always love going back to. It's one that I don't see get talked about enough. But when people do talk about it, it's usually pretty good feedback, which does make me happy. I'm glad this movie doesn't get shitted on, and I do think in that era of remakes that were coming out, again, whether you want to call this a remake or not, I think it's definitely one of the better ones of that time period, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. And it definitely made a big impression too, because it developed like a huge cult following afterwards.
Yeah.
You know? I think it did really well with like its Blu-ray and DVD sales and stuff too. So,
yep. Which, by the way, if you guys don't have it, the Scream Factory version of House of Wax is great. Yep. Yeah, there it is. Yep. And by the way, I do love the original poster art too, but they did a really good job on that collector's edition artwork.
Yeah, there's so many little details to it that they really just nailed on this thing.
It really honors the town and showcases different locations, and I love the picture of Vincent with Bo's face and the knife.
Yes, I was gonna mention that, like Bo's face in the knife. Yep,
it's so good.
Man, that blade really does look good.
It is, man. It's so badass.
I'm kind of looking at it now.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other thing that you wanted to like bring up or talk about regarding House of Wax before we kind of get on out of here?
I'll give Paris Hilton some love because I feel like people just assume, oh, she's going to be a terrible actress, whatever. But I
Okay,
actually
good
really like
point.
her in this movie. Like, I really
I
like
do
her
too.
character.
She's a supporting role. She's not, asked to do a lot. And I think for the job that she was hired to do, she does a fine job. I have no problem with her in this movie.
Yeah, me either.
So, yeah, good
She
point.
holds her
For
own.
sure. Yeah,
And
yes, for sure.
shout out to Blake as well. I think that character doesn't get enough love, but I think I think he's good. He's really fun in the movie. Yeah,
He's good, but he's like the hothead of the group. You got to have the stereotypical.
Yeah.
Like, I do love when he opens up the tent. He's like, "Oh, it's 2:30. Get up!"
Damn it. Hey, it's 2:30. Get up. Let's go, guys. Get up. Get up. Wade, Dalton, let's go. We're gonna miss the damn game. Nick, get up.
Yeah, he's good. He brings like a good energy to it. I mean, there's something
for sure.
He's very like charming and stuff. So,
Which
I don't know. I
look,
like
maybe it's just me. I don't know how you oversleep laying on the ground in a tent in the
True.
middle of the woods. Like, how do you? Like, I get it in a nice, comfortable hotel bed, sure, but in a tent in the middle of the woods, how do you like? Oh, we're supposed to be up at 10, and now it's 2:30. How does that happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what time they like arrived there, and they stayed up for a
That's
while
true.
too. So like, who knows what time they went to sleep? But still, 2:30 is really late.
Yeah.
Chris, just out of curiosity, do you have a favorite kill in the movie?
Again, I feel like Dalton's the easy answer, but it's just it's too iconic. I think I still have to go with Dalton.
It is a great one.
Yeah, I think. What do you? Well, you go first. What do you think? Which one? Because I don't want to steal yours in case. Yeah, what's your favorite?
Well, because there's really only a few. I mean, they're all iconic. I mean, Blake's is
It's a small cast, yeah.
Blake's is the least interesting because it's the quickest one. But
Yeah.
I don't know, because we were talking about this as we were watching it. Because I think Wade's is great because it's drawn out. Because he like really suffers a lot before he actually
You
dies.
get to see the whole process of it, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, this is what you get for being nosy. He's like, I'm going to draw this out. But yeah, I mean, Paris or like Paige's death is great, but hers goes on for a little bit too because you have the great chase scene. But then, Dalton's is iconic as well. So it's hard. It's hard to pick a favorite.
I would go with Wade. I think Wade because I just love how drawn out it is. That's definitely my favorite.
But even Bo and Vincent, like theirs is great too. Even though I was like sad
Poetic.
to see them die because I love their characters, but I mean, like when Bo gets like beaten, his face is just like beaten with that bat. It's brutal.
Oh yeah.
And then Vincent's death when he falls through the wax, like just all of them are so iconic.
And you see like the whole House of Wax kind of colliding in on itself. It's great visually.
And then another funny thing about the movie is that in this film here, I mean, obviously, Bo has killed people. I'm assuming in the past, but in this film, Bo doesn't actually kill anyone. Vincent does all the killing.
Right. He tried to be slick and make his brother do all the dirty work.
Exactly. Yeah. But I thought that was kind of interesting too, because I'm like, oh, he actually doesn't kill anyone in this film. It's all Vincent. Yeah. But I'm sure over the years he's killed plenty of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. One thing, going back to Blake's death really quick. There's one thing about that I really do like. He's on the ground, he's bleeding, he's got the knives in him, and Vincent, as he's kind of walking past him to chase Paige, he kind of just takes his foot and it's great. It's great.
She was just talking about that when we were watching. She was like, "Oh, I love that he lets him suffer first." Ellie was saying this. Let's Blake suffer
go get
first,
your girl now,
and then finishes him with the boot into the blade into his neck.
Yeah.
Let me just take care of this so I can proceed with going after Paige. And make sure he's not alive.
Are we rolling? We're rolling. Great. All right. So, House of Wax, it's a great time. I'm still kind of shocked that it's been 20 years. I'm still kind of dealing with that by itself. But 20 years of House of Wax, I think it's great. If you guys haven't watched it in a while, definitely go give it a revisit. If you guys haven't seen it at all, sorry we spoiled the whole damn thing. But it really is still worth checking out regardless, at least I think. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's an experience. Like, it's just...
It is.
that tone, like you said, it's very immersive. So it's worth revisiting or just visiting to experience it and meet these characters, and especially Bo and Vincent. They're such underrated like horror killers, you know. So more people need to meet them.
Yeah,
I agree.
There really is like a mood to the film. You know, it's like like you were saying, Chris. It's very atmospheric. You know, you just there's a. It's almost like in a weird way comforting watching it, which is because maybe it's just because of the nostalgia. You know, we've all been watching it for a long time, but it really is like a comfort watch at this point. And the movie's almost 2 hours. I think it's like an hour and 53 minutes or something like that.
I think so.
But
Yeah.
it breezes by. I mean, you really
for sure.
don't notice the length of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very well paced.
Yeah.
I think something else that makes it comforting to watch is just like the look of it, like the blues and the greens, like the colors are really beautiful as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
yep. So guys, that is House of Wax. This was fun, kind of taking a trip down memory lane. Again, it's one of our favorite horror movies anyway, but to like go back around that time period and this was really fun to talk to you guys about this. Thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us on. Yeah, we appreciate it.
So, you guys, go check out Anthony's Horror and More. He's got. I watched some of your videos before we did this. I mean, not like right before, but over the past couple days. No. It's fine. I like it. I like what you're doing. Allie, do you have any plans to kind of do more content with him on over there on that channel? Is that something that you guys are talking about?
I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but I'm definitely open to it because we talk about movies every single day in physical media, and so I'm always
get on it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, maybe do some out of the theater reviews or something like that, or just start.
So yeah, guys, go check out Anthony's channel. Allie, go. You don't mind if people follow you on Instagram, right? If you want to, I could put your Instagram down in the comments after this if you don't care.
Yeah. That's
okay. So thanks for coming on, talking about House of Wax. This was really fun. I have nothing else left to say. Anything?
I guess.
We'll just show off the shirt.
Yeah.
And the back of it actually has the soundtrack, which you can't really see, but it's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. So that's it. Until next time, guys.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!